好的。
Are you done?
No.
Keep going.
It can go on
There's
forever.
gigabytes and gigabytes on there.
Okay, whenever you want it.
It's not a fucking phone call with your girlfriend. Right. You don't have hour-long phone calls? I thought that's what you were complaining about.
No, I don't complain. I complain about not having time for myself.
Oh, no time for yourself.
Okay, so how do we kickstart?
What I was about to say, this is the Days of Being Wild project. It's not a podcast, it's a multimedia
It's completely
project.
different.
It's a multimedia project. We're here to share our views on Chinese issues as people who actually live here, and the other people who live here too are going to tell us about their views. So there's various experts or, like takeaway drivers that we're going to have on. But yeah, so to introduce ourselves, I mean, I'm Alfie. I'm Alfie. I've been living here for 3 years now as a PhD student. I work on spacecraft structures.
Where are you from, Alfie?
I'm from the UK, if you couldn't tell. My flag's back there, but it's probably completely invisible.
Thank you for the information, Alfie. I'm Alvaro.
Paolo.
Fuck you. I'm Alvaro, as I was saying, mostly called Paolo for reasons that are still unknown for me here in China.
He looks like a Paolo.
I don't look like a Paolo at all. I'm from Spain, also if you cannot tell from my accent, and I have also been living here for 3 years. Also a PhD student, but in my case, second year. Not lucky enough to be about to graduate yet. So yeah, we're just gonna share our point of view and our experiences here during this time, because I think we have quite some things to share by now.
Yeah. And to help you get to know us a little bit, we've got a little activity I like to call top 10, bottom 10 countries. So why don't you start us off? What is in your top 10 countries in the world?
Top 10.
Top 10. Straight off, come on.
China.
China, number 1. Okay.
China, number 1. Should we? Okay, yeah.
That's
China,
easy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, yeah. Number 2, Spain.
They don't have to be in any... Wait, Spain? Okay, controversial pick.
He's British, don't listen to any of his opinions on this, so actually you should be listening to me. So
I don't
anyway,
think
yeah.
anything in mainland Europe should be in the top 10. Just
Mainland Europe. Okay.
Anything on the continent. It's all the Balkan.
Okay, we have been cinified a lot.
Where's Portugal?
Portugal is next to Spain. I thought you should know.
In the top 10.
In the top 10.
Is it, or is it in the bottom?
I don't know.
10?
It's also has. It has a lot of great food too. Good wine mostly, but it doesn't have good beer. So it's definitely beneath Spain.
Yeah.
It could be a solid 4.
It doesn't sound like it's even in the top 10 for you.
It should be a solid 4 or 5. I haven't been to so many countries. You have been to.
Okay, you've got way more countries to get through.
Okay. Just let me do my thing, for fuck's sake. Number 3. Number 3. What should it be? I haven't been to any other country in Asia.
It doesn't have to be somewhere you've been to.
Yeah, but how can I give a whole opinion on it?
You've met people from all around the world. You've read the news.
Unfortunately.
You know what happens in other countries.
I don't know what happens like...
Haiti. Where's Haiti?
Haiti is fucked up.
Do you know how many French people they killed?
Yes. Not enough.
Not enough.
Okay, so that makes it France a solid number 1 for top worst countries. We'll go on that later, but I think any
we can go to the top 10 worst countries.
Any European can agree with me by now, I think.
You're thinking way too hard about this.
Okay,
this is
number
just supposed
3.
to alienate the audience.
Okay, number 3, Japan. Because I'm a weeaboo. Yeah, that's what you wanted to hear? No, I'm not. I'm not a weeaboo.
I didn't think number 3 would be Japan.
I don't think it is either, but I just have to say something. Number 3, it will be Italy. Amazing food, amazing landscapes. I haven't been to Italy anyway.
You're putting Italy and Japan in your top 10. You've got 2 Axis countries in there. Why not just put German in there, for fuck's sake?
Do I have to say why?
You're more of a negative guy. Let's say your bottom 10. Some samples.
Bottom 10.
Yeah.
Bottom 10. Are we talking still about countries?
Yeah, countries.
Oh, okay.
You were going to say Taiwan, weren't you?
It's not a country. I was about to say Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
El bottom G.
Well, where does Andrew Tate live?
Where is he now?
Is he
actually?
Bulgaria or Romania?
Did he manage to finally escape to the USA?
He was Romania. I don't think he's in the USA.
No, he was in Romania, but then he flew to the USA, and I don't know where is he now.
Well, just for giving him asylum, Romania should be in the bottom 10, right?
Romania.
We have to represent Andrew Tate on the
I
list.
met Romanian people, really cool, really good food, really good landscapes. They have Dracula. So it's gonna be, I would say, a solid 5.
Romania's at number 5.
Yeah, why not?
Top 5.
Yeah, why not? Out of my mind, like, yeah, come on.
I really thought you would be going straight in bottom 10, all the countries you dislike.
No, I'm not gonna go there yet. Argentina should also be top 6, because they also have good food, even if most of their like national pride foods look like a kid's menu on any restaurant, because it's essentially like fried chicken and chips.
I need to call up like my bookie because I put all my money on you putting Argentina as the worst country in the world.
No, and I have to piss you off too. So
you're doing controversial picks just because I know you too well.
Yeah, and because they also bought it Formula A, so you cannot expect much from them. But in terms of like landscapes, culture, people, they're quite nice. I like it. Even if they always think they know better than you, but still, I'm gonna be forgiven today. Number 7, Daisy maybe has a chance to watch this, so I don't.
You have to put Ecuador.
Yeah, I have to put Ecuador.
I would put Ecuador in my top 10.
Have you been to there?
No,
Then why?
it's a funny place. They have great people.
You have to explain that. Why is it funny?
Okay, I have a friend who won't be named who is Muslim or is from a Muslim background, and they went to Ecuador as part of like a fancy boarding school thing, and the Ecuadorian host family kept trying to secretly baptize her. So they would be like, let me help you wash your face. or, you know, I don't know, pretend to accidentally spill a glass of water on you. And
yeah, so let me wash your face.
which is simultaneously like pretty creepy, but also, I guess it's hospitable. They don't want you to go to hell, right?
Is that what you call hospitable?
Yeah.
Like not respecting
if
your
you show up
face?
to my house, I'm baptizing you. I'm not even baptized.
I'm already baptized. Joke's on you.
Well, you've been baptized here without noticing. I got my water gun out when you weren't looking. No, you've got to have one from every continent. You've got to have some island nations in there. Otherwise, you're not
Island nations.
Island nations.
Nations. I already said Japan. Joke's on you.
That's England isn't.
Philippines.
Okay, Philippines was going in my bottom 10, but you know.
Why bottom 10?
I could go through my list, but like easily, every item in the top 10 has like an evil twin in the bottom 10. So for like my top 10, I've got Indonesia, and in my bottom 10, I've got the Philippines.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. Like why is in the top 10 Indonesia and in the bottom 10 you have Philippines?
Because the Philippines is full of weebs. History is not so great. Massive ally of the United States. Everyone I know from the Philippines is way into like Uma Musume or Genshin Impact. They're big gamers. I swear.
Why is that not a reason to make them into the top 10?
Because I don't like Uma Musume. Pedophile horse racing.
Okay, I haven't played Yume Sume. I just know enough about it to know it's about horsified girls.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of thing going on in the Philippines.
Exactly. It's not exactly in my list of interest hobbies to learn more about it.
I haven't done the research, but I think if you took like the countries that produce the most RGB gaming equipment, like, you know, top 50% might be China, Bangladesh, etc. And then 90% of all the RGB gaming equipment in the entire world ends up in the Philippines.
Okay, that kind of makes sense, but you're forgetting good food. Which Indonesia, I think the food must be good there.
I'm excluding food from my ratings because there's too many countries with good food that I like that I would not put in my top 10. Japan, I like Japanese food.
Okay,
wouldn't put them in my top 10.
Okay,
I think they
clearly,
did some naughty stuff.
Clearly, we have like really some distinct standards to now say what is our top 10 countries. Because for me, when I'm thinking like what country is your top one, I would be first thinking about food.
You're thinking about visiting.
I'm thinking about.
About who gets into heaven.
No one is going to heaven. I'm not going to heaven.
Wrong.
You're not going to heaven.
Wrong. English people, Chinese people, they get to go to heaven.
No, I don't think Chinese people
Irish
are going to
people,
appreciate that.
Palestinian people, they get to go to heaven. Lebanese people, definitely going to heaven. Anyone from any island nation, Vanuatu, they're going to heaven. Tonga, going to heaven.
I'm not going to heaven.
Australians, Canadians, US Americans.
Straight to hell.
Straight to hell.
Yeah, Americans.
Exactly. That's how you rank it. Cubans,
No, exactly. Yeah.
Cubans go to heaven.
Exactly. So for me,
Vietnamese, they go to heaven.
top one bottom countries.
Filipinos, Spaniards, straight to
Okay,
hell.
yeah, I said before France, but now you made me change my mind. You're right. It should be America. I mean, with 3 Ks instead of a C.
You throw in the whole America, Israel.
And Japan, yes. We're gonna go talk later. Yeah, fuck, I forgot about Israel.
I thought you would go straight there.
Wow.
I mean, maybe we should avoid the topic for at least a few episodes.
No, now you open the Pandora box. Now we have to deal with it. I'm sorry.
We can't do Israel in the first episode.
Can we?
We're gonna have to talk about wushu competitions in China, and then we're gonna get in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun to deal with,
The
guys.
first thing is like, oh, great, wushu
yes.
guys.
Wushu competitions in Israel to build bridges of friendship with Israel.
Exactly.
Yes.
So no, we
Not our
we
words.
can't go there yet. But no, what are we here to discuss today? And actually, this afternoon as well.
Okay, just let me clarify something before we go into that. When I say Japan, horrible country in terms of politics, especially now, but
You
good
don't like the
landscapes.
Liberal Democratic Party?
I will let you take your guess about it. But horrible things in the past: Axis power, bad good food, good landscapes, and
Great motorcycles.
their culture is directly coming from Chinese.
Okay, controversial, but okay.
Your call, not mine. And in the bottom one, America, Israel, and France fighting for a close one. I'm gonna be forgiving with France because they really know how to make.
I've never forgiven a French person.
They know how to make revolts on the streets, you know.
Also, they've got the biggest school in our university, so you kind of have to give them some credit for that.
They have the Paris Commune. So,
Paris Commune.
So that's a point for
French Revolution is really funny if you ever read about it.
French Revolution is super funny.
Top 10 events in history.
Yeah,
We're not doing that. That's the next episode.
that's the next one. And Paris Commune. I'm an optimist. at
Also,
heart.
I'm sorry, Tour de France, one of the best sports events the world hosts every single year.
For taking a nap, absolutely.
Yeah. Drinking beers, smoking cigarettes, bring back the old Tour de France.
Is that how you leave the Tour de France in the UK?
What do you mean?
I mean, for us, the Tour de France is like they air it right after lunch, so it's an excuse to
Get drunk?
take a nap.
Yeah. So for modern Brits, the Tour de France is exclusively watched by, like my granddad. It's watched by guys who really like cycling but are not fit enough to cycle.
I cannot blame them.
They released the Tour de France documentary on Netflix, and because it's Netflix, they dubbed it in every language, even though it's originally filmed in France. So it's got an English dub done by British people, and it's so funny to watch French cycling athletes dubbed in by some guy from like Somerset, because they're clearly going way, and then the English dub is yes, let's go.
What a beautiful call!
like imagine a Scottish guy dubbing like Ayrton Senna, or Alonso. It'd be like that.
Now that is my special interest.
Yeah.
For the next month, I need to watch some Formula One on Netflix.
Okay, we're done doing Japanese revisionism. We're done talking about French people. We're here to talk about.
We're not.
We're going to be talking about French people every episode for at least an hour. We're talking about history. We did some notes, and we tried to make a 2-part episode about all of Chinese history up until now. We thought that was a funny bit. We
It is a funny bit.
had some topics that we discussed. We originally had, the way this is going to work is going to be part 1. We're doing all the way up to Qin Shi Huang. Shout out, my favorite guy, Top G. Not El Bottom G, El Top G. And then we've got Qin Shi Huang until 1911, the Xinhai Revolution, and then we're doing 1911 until now. It was originally just going to be like 1, and then we split into 2, and now we split into 3.
That is the plan. subject to changes.
Except I know nothing about half of those topics. But luckily I've got an expert here with me who's going to tell me everything about all that stuff.
And I know nothing about the other half, so
yeah,
I think we complement each other quite well.
the boring stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So
where should we start?
I was now thinking that I think at some point we should explain the lore about the El bottom G and the top
No,
G.
El bottom G is for them to look up.
It is. I don't think it made it out of Spanish Twitter.
Then it's going to be harder for them to look it up. If you're dedicated enough, you can find out what El bottom G, El top G, etc., etc.
Just look it up, guys. It's worth it.
You're going to be. It's necessary reading.
It's really worth it. Even if you don't know Spanish, you're going to get the point really fast.
Necessary reading. Number 1, all of Confucius, the Analects. Number 2, Andrew Tate, El bottom G.
So, okay, now going back to our topic, we were thinking we need to talk about Spanish no.
Let's not talk about the Spanish.
No, we don't talk about
We're
Spanish
not going
history
there.
here, and definitely not the British either. The Chinese history, because when you need to understand certain things in this country, not only about politics, but as a society as a whole, you need also to have a tighter understanding of their history compared to at least my experience in my hometown, for example. And the thing is that you need to go 5,000 years back to start tracing the origins of Chinese history. That is something that they make sure to remember you at every turn, at every occasion. Yeah, like the 5,000 years old Chinese history. Yeah, the only how is it called, the only civilization nation, I think it's called.
A continuous civilization that's lasted 5,000 years,
exactly.
Which is disputed by Western historians, but they're all nerds. I'm firmly pro 5,000 years, except I think there should be a little carve out for Egypt and maybe Thailand.
Yes.
I don't think those civilizations have been disrupted.
Thailand,
yeah. Thailand never occupied by a colonial power.
Never.
Well, okay, occupied by China, but it's continuous civilization. They've kept their language. I'm saying there should be a carve out for Thailand and Egypt.
But Thailand was really influenced by the people from Fujian.
Influenced, but not taken over. China was influenced by other people. Egypt was influenced by other
Yeah, but
people.
I don't know. When I went to Fujian, I was really surprised to see how much of it really looked like Thailand.
We can draw lines, and I mean the sentiment of it is that our civilization has been around for 5,000 years, and I think props to the Egyptians and props to the Thai people. I think those are the other civilizations.
I would say props to Egyptians.
Maybe Scandinavians too, but unlikely.
Do they have a culture?
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of different Scandinavian cultures. I mean, a lot of European, French and British cultures definitely descend from Germanic and Danish.
Yeah, but do you call it really I think that the idea with the Chinese history is that they related more to civilization nation.
Yeah, also they look at something old and they go, that's Chinese.
Exactly.
They don't have to go, oh, it's a little bit like this. They go, it's Chinese.
Which also leads to many, let's say, opposing takes by historians, both Chinese and Western historians.
Well, it's a useful rhetorical device to say our civilization is older than yours, so it's going to be debated.
Yeah, there is many discussions still ongoing about it, but they are what is you can agree on it is definitely there were some people 5,000 years ago in what today is known as China that they started building some settlements and started building proto-nations.
Complex civilizations.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened 5,000 years ago.
Complex civilizations and some things that can be traced to what is now the modern China. So our history begins around 2,800 before Christ. There are two half mythological, half historical figures that are the Yan Di and the Huan Di. They are supposed to be the precursors of the first settlements in China, because they started creating some settlements. They started building and making some permanent, they leave some traces that indicate that they were definitely not a nomadic people. Then we have also another period of the Chinese history, which is the Xia dynasty, that is still also being debated as to be really the first Chinese dynasty, or more like a mythological,
It's a construction.
Construction,
Yeah, by like later historians.
Yeah. No,
It was what people would argue. It's like, oh, there's all these unrelated societies. We're going to make them into this big narrative.
not also by modern historians, but also by the following dynasty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean the historians that came after.
Yeah, so the Xia dynasty occupies from 2070 before Christ to around 1600. And the thing is, like, both modern historians and all historians are not sure about their exact function, either as a real dynasty, as a real proto-nation, or rather as an scapegoat for the following dynasty to say, hey guys, you fucked up too much, now it's our turn to take over.
And this is a common trope though, when, nomadic tribes become permanent settlements. There's this kind of period of time before states have, formed into what we would now recognize as states, whether they're kingdoms or whether they're just towns paying tribute to some emperor king. I mean, Mesopotamia classically is like, they have this kind of irrigation and agriculture, but they don't have a civilization as such.
Yes.
They have a series of local rulers, and then they kind of conglomerate and they pick one to like head up the whole thing, and then you get kind of archaeological evidence to suggest a civilization, even if they're not so united.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the reasons that helps historians support the idea that the Xia dynasty was really a sort of proto-nation is that here is where you can find the first archaeological evidence of trying to control the flow of the Yangtze River, especially during the seasonal floods.
Yeah.
That, of course, in China, they have been always devastating every time there is a flood in the Yangtze, depending on the moment of the history, of course. But
the meme is that the Yangtze floods and then everyone dies and then a new emperor takes over throughout history.
Exactly. They are like millions of people die in a few months, and the next... and we will see what is the mandate of heaven later, but other competitors for the throne in whatever historical moment we are dealing with, they say like, oh, the Yangtze River just overflowed and killed 1 million people. That means that the current emperor is not worthy anymore, so I have to take over. And during the Xia dynasty, more or less during this period, is where we can find the first actual tries to build, to diverge the flow of the Yangtze, or to try to stop these floodings, which of course they didn't go anywhere. But the thing is, like, at some point, some guys think that the Xia dynasty is not worthy to control these proto-nations, these territories, and that is when we begin with the Xian dynasty. For those of you that don't know Chinese, the Xia dynasty corresponds to the character that goes down, and Shang to the character that goes up. And the Xian dynasty begins from 1600 before Christ to 1046, more or less. And this is like really the first completely undisputed part of Chinese culture, the first Chinese dynasty, even if it's not corresponding yet to the unified China.
Is that because of writing, or is that because of other evidence?
You have this is also actually when you begin to have sort of unified writing system.
Is it still kind of pictographic at this stage?
Still pictographic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously pictographic. They usually
They're drawing a man having a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
The classic.
They also used bones. They used the oracle bone scripture. There is a style of Chinese scripture that is used today still in art and calligraphy and some carvings, that is called the bone oracle, the oracle bone scripture, and it is traced back to the Xian dynasty. And we have the first evidence of having a unified calendar.
Yeah.
And they also began with the Bronze Age. They began with the bronze casting.
Yeah.
So when you begin doing things in bronze, they are more durable. You have many more archaeological evidence. So this also helps historians and archaeologists to determine that it is like, okay, yeah, there is no doubt with these guys. This is a full-on dynasty with some unified. how to say it, some unified characteristics.
Well, yeah, they've got unified culture almost.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go into a Chinese museum in any province, typically what you get is you get Stone Age stuff, then you get bone tools, and then you just get 3 or 4 rooms full of these bronze, usually tools or jewelry or these fucking vats that were used to hold water and like wine and cutlery and all sorts. It's just suddenly there's this explosion of culture expressed through bronze tools.
Yeah, exactly. It's really important every time you go to any kind of historical museum anywhere in China.
You get these like execution axes and stuff that people are like really scared of, and like these scary masks. But I just think it's all sick. Some of the coolest stuff.
The other funny thing is that the really important pieces, they are all replicas, no matter what museum you're in.
No, Beijing
Most of
Capital Museum has the biggest one. It's the biggest bronze work. It's that giant 4-legged vat. It's called, can't remember. It's a tongue or something like that. It's like a little bathtub.
It's like really big bathtub made of bronze, all green.
4 legs.
Yeah. So that is actually, I was going to talk about it later.
Oh, is it from?
We will talk about it later, but actually that piece was one of the pieces that would dictate who has the mandate of heaven.
Yeah.
And I will go through that later, but first, now is a good introduction to say what is the mandate of heaven. And when this Shang Dynasty finishes, they are taken over by the Zhou Dynasty, which takes from 1046 before Christ to 2056. And this is the first dynasty that introduces the concept of mandate of heaven.
Yeah.
So what is the mandate of heaven?
The mandate of heaven is, this is my understanding, I've read not much about this. The mandate of heaven is the claim to the throne. It's the claim to the throne, but it means that you have been given the right by the gods to rule over the Chinese people, who are as of yet undefined, but you have the right to rule over everyone because the gods have said so. Whoever the gods are. I mean, that's kind of a shifting concept. The concept does change throughout history, but mostly when you claim the mandate of heaven, it means that you're saying that your family, your bloodline is designated in charge of everyone. You get fancy clothes, you get as many wives as you want. Actually, you can usually have more than one wife, as long as you're important enough. You get command of all the soldiers, and you're generally tasked with making sacrifices, appeasing the gods, and keeping everyone out of trouble.
You talk about how important was it to get as many women as you want, but you didn't talk about how important is it to get as many eunuchs as you want.
Yeah, the eunuchs are important too. You can never have enough eunuchs unless you're in the Three Kingdoms.
I still don't think you're gonna have too many.
I don't know. Scheming eunuchs is a classic recurring trope.
And
if I got my balls chopped off, I would also be scheming all the time.
And the favorite eunuchs having actually more power behind the shadows that the actual emperor is also like a recurring trope in many dynasties.
Correct me on the mandate of heaven then. Tell me exactly where it originates and what it means.
There is not much correction actually. The only point that I should add is that the mandate of heaven comes because the first emperor of the Zhou dynasty, he was born during like a whole like there was a big coincidence in I think there was an eclipse or something like that.
Yeah. It's usually an eclipse.
Yeah, eclipses are like signals of some things about to happen.
And comets as well.
Comets, floods, earthquakes.
Yeah.
Any kind of natural disaster or natural occurrence that only happens once every like 100 years is taken as a sign, as an omen for something big about
whether the guys upstairs are happy with you or not.
Exactly. So the first emperor of the Zhou dynasty was born during some of these eclipses or some like astronomical occurrences. I still don't remember clearly what, but people took it as an understanding that this guy was blessed by the heavens. This guy is not a god, but almost. So when he died, they also assumed that he was going up to heaven to watch over their territories with the rest of gods. And so every emperor from now on.
They become a force ghost from Star Wars.
Exactly. They are as a force ghost now on.
An important concept of Chinese mythology is the idea of force ghosts.
Yeah, and they start talking weird, talking backwards. Sometimes they turn into yellow-green guys. That is the whole point of it. So every emperor that dies from now on will ascend to the heavens and watch over China and decide, have a saying in who is the worthy heir or not.
Yeah.
So that is the mandate of heaven. And there are many, we will go through that in some posterior chapters, but there are many cultural pieces, cultural artifacts.
How many dynasties are we in? We're 3 dynasties in.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more to go.
We have many more to go. Yeah, I'm sorry. But the mandate of heaven is represented not only by who is ruling, but it actually is represented by material pieces, by cultural artifacts, by seals, by the bats that you were mentioning before, by weapons, all sort of things. And whoever possessed them is the one that is said to hold the mandate of heaven properly. In some wars were taken to take hold of these cultural artifacts and then say, no, I am the heir to the throne because I have it, because I have this seal.
Yeah.
And when there was a special seal. I'm kind of a freak nerd.
You are a freak.
I'm a freak. I mean to say a seal nerd. I'm kind of a seal nerd, and there was I'm gonna talk about it in some posterior chapter, but there was a special seal that was supposed to represent the mandate of heaven, and when they lost it, at some point, it was like a big mess. Like,
yeah, it's a classic.
Who is now the heir? Yeah.
Classic artifact thing is losing the artifact.
And now, during the Zhou dynasty, it's also a very culturally important period, of course, because here we have the born of Confucius, Kongzi, also Lao Tzu is born. Lao Tzu, known as the creator of Taoism, the main figure of Taoism, the main historical figure of Taoism. And we also have Han Fei or Han Fei Zi, which is also the creator of legalism. And Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism are central also to the history of China, not only to understand their thoughts, not only to understand the cultural relevance of their anything that is happening, but also to understand why some dynasties take over, why some fall, or how the thought changes between each one of them. Because one thing that distinguishes the Chinese dynasties from other dynasties in other empires or long-lasting civilizations is that each one of them has an official philosophy. And this greatly determines what is their take on social problems or any kind of organization.
And it's different as well. There's like very strict mechanisms to enforce the official philosophy that maybe, I don't know, would be controversial. So I mean, classically, like in Europe, you're always switching between, during the Reformation, different interpretations of the Bible and like Christianity, but there's no state mechanism for changing it and enforcing it once it's been changed. So, you know, the king can be one thing, the people can be another thing. But in China, the classic thing is like, you take over, you change the state philosophy. That's the state philosophy. There's no questioning it.
Exactly. I mean, in every other, when we have a dynasty that is supposedly, officially Taoist or Confucianist, for example, people in private, they can be Buddhist, but they cannot take any power. They cannot represent the state power through their personal thoughts, through Buddhism or whatever.
Well, the state rituals have become the ruling ideology. So the state rituals will become Taoist, and that way, state rituals are a classic way that you can get power.
Yeah.
If you're contributing to Taoist rituals as a Taoist, then you're gonna, increase your standing in the civilization.
Exactly, and at the same time, each one of these ideologies, of these philosophies, also divide into different branches or sects.
Yeah.
I don't like the name sect because it implies like, I don't know, we have like this Western meaning of brainwashing and things like that, but in Chinese philosophy, it refers more to just different branches that take separate ways. They have different interpretations of some texts and different, slightly different ideas.
So Kongzi, Confucius, originates Confucianism.
Yes.
Give us a rundown on all of Confucianism.
Oh?
Give us a rundown, a summary.
Okay, so Confucianism. Wow.
Respect your parents.
Okay.
Listen to your boss.
Listen to your boss.
If you're a
your
woman,
parents.
tough luck.
I like to think of Confucianism as a precursor of the social contract because it, in some way, some of the values are really, for our standards nowadays, they are like quite reactionary.
Yeah.
Man has a position over woman. Yeah, of course. And parents have a position over children, and professors or teachers have a position over the students.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also states that if you are not a good teacher, your students have the right and the duty to not listen to you. If you're a bad parent, your children have the right to just not.
And if you're a bad ruler, that's the classic one.
Exactly. So this also applies to the state. Exactly.
Yeah. If the head of the state is corrupt, then you have a right to remove the head of state.
Exactly.
Which is kind of controversial. There's not many other societies adopting those principles at the time.
Exactly. So that is why I say I like to think about it as a precursor to the social contract. Yeah. Everyone has a duty, even if their position of power is, of course, reactionary by our standards. But you also have consequences when you don't fulfill your duty. In every scale of the society, from the state to the family.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Confucius also has some really interesting ideas by the time, and he also thought that everyone is different, everyone can earn their own merits, and everyone should have access to the same opportunities when it comes, for example, to education.
It's a meritocratic ideology.
Yes, both Confucianism and legalism are very meritocratic.
Yeah, which again is another unique part of Chinese society.
Yes. But both take different ideas on this. For Confucianism, everyone should access to education. Everyone should have access to education.
Yeah.
And which by then it was only reserved for nobles.
And it's usually learning to read and write.
Confucianism did take education not only as reading and writing, but also riding a horse, archery, combat.
Yeah.
Most of these things. Rituals, the rituals of the state, of the any kind of ritual, for example, for the tea, which at this time also started to develop in a more clear way.
We're gonna fucking talk about tea, aren't we?
Not now. Some other time we'll talk about tea, I promise, but not now.
We're doing a whole episode on tea, and I'm not here. Someone else is gonna take my place.
I take it, guys. So the idea is that everyone should have access to developing themselves in these ways, and having the same kind of formation as everyone else, which was really, really progressive for the age.
Let's move on to Taoism.
There is a fun story I want to tell about Confucius. There is a Confucius house is in Beijing, near the Yonggegong Temple. Near the Lama Temple.
The examination institute, or
it was like a palace.
Because he comes from Shandong.
He comes from Chufu.
Yeah.
So he didn't live in Beijing, but there is this like kind of palace made up to him, and there is a small museum inside dedicated to his histories. And when I went there was a story that really struck me up, and that is that there was a student of Confucius that was badly beaten up by his father, like almost killed.
Yeah.
And when he took the beating, he was really happy because he was like, oh yeah, now my master is gonna be really happy that I took the beating without saying anything, because I didn't defy my father. I didn't go against his designs because he's over me. I should always listen to him.
Yeah.
And I must have deserved that beating that almost killed me, He went up to Confucius, he told him the story, and Confucius was like, "You're so fucking stupid.
You're a bitch.
You're so fucking stupid. Why do you do that? Don't you realize that if your father really killed you from that beating, he would have been to jail and you would have been a bad son."
Oh.
So yeah.
Take the beating and don't die.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you should have challenged your father to not beat you up to death. But just because if he kills you, he will go to jail. Not because of your own well-being or any kind of shit. So yeah, there are also like some bad takes from that point.
Yeah.
Okay, then Taoism, Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is a much more mythological figure.
Mythological.
Yeah, very mythological.
Mythological.
He has been attributed with several reincarnations and things like that in different parts of China.
Yeah, I'm a reincarnation of Lao Tzu.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you that.
Really?
Yeah.
How can you prove it?
Well, I don't remember anything, so I wouldn't be able to prove it.
I mean, I'm supposed to trust you at this point.
Look, are you not saying that I'm an exemplar of Taoism?
You're definitely not by any means.
I am.
Can you prove it to me?
I don't have to.
Okay, now Alfie is going to talk to us about Taoism as the reincarnation of Lao Tzu.
Yeah, Lao Tzu famously said, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. That's the principle you should follow. I'm talking about my ass. I don't know anything about Taoism. He does.
But that is exactly more or less the point.
It's
one of the big points of Taoism.
Right, okay, this is going to become a recurring bit.
Yeah, I mean...
Expert on Taoism over here.
When you look into Taoism, there are also many ideas
You follow the way? Isn't that what it means?
Yeah,
Taoism?
The way. It's follow the way. And everyone asks, what is the way? And Lao Tzu is like...
Figure it out.
The way is the way, guys. Yeah. The main point is, you cannot give it a name. You cannot define the way, because everything that is defined, everything that has a name, is not permanent. Mm-hmm. And the way is. And that is a mystery. It's much more mystical than Confucianism, and legalism is much more...
People attribute vague, like obtrusive quotes that like you can't understand to Confucius. That is much more of a Taoist thing.
Confucius was also like quite a stubborn guy when he came up to...
Yeah, but like, I mean, there's a philosophy tube video about this. Forgive me for
Your
reference.
flag just fell, which is also like a bad omen. I'm sorry.
That's no mandate of heaven to King Charles III.
Alfie lost the mandate of heaven.
But there's a philosophy tube video. I will put it in the references about Confucianism. It's a good resource because the argument is that people give like this Sun Tzu quality to like Confucian quotes that are like, you know, you say the thing and then you hit the bell and it's like very stoic, but it's very logical. And then the actual like hitting the bell, saying something very stoic that you're supposed to think about and meditate on, that's Taoism.
Everything about, obviously the main text about any of these philosophies are written in Guwen, in like ancient Chinese, which is really information dense.
Yeah, hard to translate.
It's really hard to translate, not only because it uses like the minimal amount of characters, because obviously everything has to be carved into stone, so you want to economize your efforts.
Yeah.
But also you need a lot of context to understand every single word. So for historians, for Chinese historians, it's really, you need to have to keep a good track of everything that led up to the text that you're reading, that you're having in front of you, to really understand what they're trying to say.
Yeah, if you want to do what we're trying to do, which is give an interpretation of Chinese history from a Chinese perspective, you better know Chinese. Yeah. And we're not great. He's better than me, but I'm not great.
No. He's really good. He's just more humble than me. Yeah. But yeah, the point is like, yeah, you need to really have a tight knowledge of Chinese to understand most of these texts and most of these any kind of...
Okay, let's get a move on. How many dynasties are we in? We were talking about history.
We're still in Zhou Dynasty.
You've done 20 minutes on philosophy.
And I'm not even done.
Okay,
so Taoist is much more mystical, much more philosophical than Confucianism. Much less, people call it less practical. I don't call it practical. I don't say it's not practical, but it has many different takes. So the idea of Taoism is find your way.
Yeah.
Find your way through doing good to others, through flowing with the goings and comings of your own life, just following what is happening around you. It doesn't mean don't oppose to anything that happens around you if you think that is bad, but it also says like, look, there are some things you cannot change. If you fight against them, you're gonna waste your life in it. You're gonna waste a lot of efforts. So sometimes you also have to know when to let go.
Yeah.
In that way, it's much more similar to Buddhism. Some of the pretexts of Buddhism and Taoism are quite similar.
Well, there are plenty of people that practice both. Like they literally don't conflict with each other.
And most of ancient Chinese writings and culture, they have a mixture of both philosophies, of both religions, if you want to call them
Definitely.
like that. I don't know, for example, the trip to the West, Xi it mixes components of both Taoism and Buddhism constantly.
The monk is a Buddhist. The main monk in Journey to the West.
The monk is a Buddhist.
Yeah.
Tang Shan Chang.
Yeah.
And then the monkey, Sun Wukong, he gained powers through practicing Taoism.
Yeah.
And then he fights Buddha.
Yeah.
And he loses.
My main experience with Taoism is through the Mr. Vampire movies, where there is a Taoist priest with flying swords.
Yeah.
And chicken blood rituals, killing vampires. So if that's what Taoism is, I'm down.
That is a very good reference too. So yeah. But at the end of the day, Taoism, I think, is much more focused about do good to others, find your own way, learn what is worth fighting for, and in turn just be a better person. It's a very good ideology for me for self-improving in a healthy way.
Which one becomes the state ideology?
Okay, the third one.
The third one
is the legalism.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like third way, like Gaddafi third way socialism.
I will be really pleased to keep talking about Taoism, but we cannot just focus on that. So legalism is made by Han Fei or Han Fei, depending on how you ask. And this is a guy in the state of Han during the Zhou Dynasty, during the Chunqiu and the Warring States period. That the main idea of legalism is everyone is born evil.
True.
Yeah, everyone is born evil. Everyone needs to be taught the hard way. So if you don't have strict laws and strict punishments for those who cross the line, the society goes to shit.
Well, this is a bit like Kant.
Yeah, kind of.
They're less racist than Kant, but you know.
I'm not sure about the less racist part, but but yeah, you can see how many of these philosophies have their own like mirror into European philosophy, but just like hundreds or thousands of years after.
Definitely.
Which is also really interesting to analyze. And legalism is the soon-to-be state philosophy of the following Qin dynasty. But we are not there yet.
Yeah.
We are still in the Zhou dynasty.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. The thing is that Zhou dynasty goes to shit really quickly. The emperor loses power, local noblemen gain power, and they split the whole territory into many different kingdoms, which first refer to the stage of the Chunqiu, the spring and autumn stage.
Chun and Qiu, spring and autumn.
Exactly. And then they further split into the Warring States period.
Yeah.
Which is the period that follows up directly into the Qin dynasty.
Yeah.
During the Warring State period, we have different small kingdoms that are fighting constantly against each other. They are all just part of the previous like Zhou dynasty, but each one of them having a different culture, the different organization, the different
only slightly different culture though, right?
Only slightly, but you can definitely see what are the how to say the German of the further cultural differences that end up defining each Chinese region.
Okay.
You can maybe see some of these things and that I start to cook up from here. So the state that is gaining more traction at the end of the Warring States period is the Qin state.
Yeah.
Whose leader is the King Cheng, which would later be the Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of the Qin dynasty. And there is a very interesting politician that just comes up to him. His name is Li Si, and he came from the state of Chun. He didn't get lucky getting a political career in the state of Chun. He came to King Cheng and just changed side, essentially. And he convinced him that, yeah, the Qin state is really powerful, but if the other states align against him, he can still be turned over. The whole situation can go to shit really quickly. And this guy's like, I like the way you think. I'm giving you a raise. Now you're gonna occupy a really strong position in my government. Li Si from here on is gonna be one of the most important figures of the Qin state and the Qin dynasty. Another point comes after, and is that when they see that the ideologies and the traditions coming over from the rest of the states are also have the impact of affecting their own Qin culture, and also they have the risk of having spies into them. There are some politicians that advise the King Chen to just expel all foreigners from the Qin state. By foreigners, I mean people coming over from the rest of the states, from the Chun, from the Han, from the Yan, whatever. And Li Si, this guy, he's a foreigner. He's in direct danger. He doesn't want to lose power. So the first thing that says to him is like, please don't do it. And when the King Chen asks for more elaboration on this, one of the things that Li Si says is that the Chao was one of the other states during this period. And he says that don't do this because the Chao girls are really hot.
You have to keep the foreigners in the state because the girls from this region are very hot.
Exactly. That is the way he convinces the king to just keep things as they are. And the king is really impressed by this rhetoric. So he gets another race. You are gaining political power through being horny, which I also respect.
Horny for foreigners.
Yeah, exactly. Only for foreigners. Chao girls are really hot. Please keep them here. So that comes the time when, eventually the Qin state wins the war, and Li Si is still having a really strong position in the government, and he will do so for the rest of the Qin Shi Huang's life. And now this is where we can begin the Qin dynasty, which begins, if I'm right, in what year?
Oh, testing me. Isn't it 207? I'm way off.
I have to look it up, actually.
My notes are somewhere over there.
In the 256.
256. I was 56.
256 before Christ,
Yeah. Oh, it might be 20... No. Oh, what am I thinking of 207? 207 might be the start of the Han. Anyway.
267?
You're worse than Keir Starmer.
Yeah, I am.
So that concludes the entire history of China until Qin Shi Huang.
Yeah.
What about... I don't know.
In a very short way.
Yeah, well, I wanted it to be short. We wanted it to be nice and concise. What do you think is the most interesting part of that part of history?
I think until now, I'm a big loser for Taoism, so I'm not going to be objective with this. But I think defining what are the implications of these three big philosophies being developed essentially at the same time, and they're going to be a constant throughout the rest of Chinese history. So it is really important to understand what each one of them constitutes and what is going to happen with them in the future. Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I'm way more interested in the infrastructure, the economic development, the agricultural development, the interactions with other countries around the world. But in China, but you can't understand those unless you understand the culture. And even before China is united, which is what we're going to talk about in the next episode, even before then, you have a consolidated writing system. Yeah. And you have a consolidated common understanding of history. And more importantly than that, you have a very, very strict hierarchy that almost everyone agrees upon. Yeah. They recognize that if someone claims the mandate of heaven and is recognized by other people, they're not a pretender. Then they have the legal right to control all of China, which is very important later on because it provides a massive amount of stability. I mean, China is not the most stable state throughout history. No, not at all. but it's a bit of a dialectic because, your instability is defined in opposition to all of the times in history where it's been massively stable. You have these kind of staples of society that might seem strange to us. I mean, you can watch any Chinese historical drama and you can think of like, oh, that's just a strange way of organizing society. Why does that bloke have 9 wives and why are they ranked so strictly?
Exactly.
And why is everyone so happy to sell off their daughters to the emperor kind of thing?
And why these guys with weird hats have so much power?
Yeah, why is everyone getting their balls chopped off?
Exactly.
And why are they in charge of so much of the palace? And why do people place so much emphasis on calligraphy and music and cultural artifacts that come from way before? It's like, I don't know, like people think about like the medieval court as like, oh, there's like a jester and like there's a guy playing the violin. But it's like those things had been invented 2,000 years before and they just consistently stayed the same. During this period of time, the other thing is like people are beginning to understand the climate. There's a very, very complex, not meteorological, but there's a complex system of seasons and agriculture that's being developed. People are kind of understanding how to raise taxes, how to raise armies, how to fight. I mean, Sun Tzu is around this time.
Sun Tzu is also from the time of Han Fei, Lao Tzu.
I don't think he's actually that influential at the time. I think he becomes a lot more influential later. But people are beginning to understand like martial science and military tactics just through the Warring States period as well.
Exactly, and not only like when now you read Sun Tzu nowadays, it's like, to us Westerners or to us modern people, it's stupid. Like, yeah, of course you shouldn't wait for your opponent to be ready before you attack.
Also, like,
but at the time, it were like
European wars can be summed up in a number of battles, maybe 1 or 2 per war. I mean, especially later on, it just becomes, you know, battle here, war is over. And then you get the Warring States and you're reading Sun Tzu and you're like, wait, how many battles are you doing? Because you've got a different set of rules for every single battle. You're fighting, you know, 50 battles over the course of your lifetime. This kind of thing becomes almost inconvenient in the 3 kingdoms where you're trying to read the history of one person and it's just battle after battle after battle after battle and they're all chronicled extensively.
Because the
Chinese people fucking love a chronicle.
Yeah, exactly. you have many chronicles up to this point, like the spring and autumn period, the Chunxiu.
Yeah.
The name comes from a chronicle written during that time.
Yeah.
No, not during that time. It was after, but that is when you get the name from a chronicle, from a historical record.
Yeah.
So, yeah, having these kind of records and having these kind of experiences, like very unstable organization of the state, also helps to mold what is going to happen later in the following years. And I don't want to sound like the Chinese weeaboo or something like that.
You are. We live here. You can say you are.
Kind of. But I think you can understand current Chinese politics and European politics and modern European society without having such a tight grasp of I don't know, any kind of philosophical knowledge of European tradition.
Yeah.
You don't need to know Kant to understand why the political climate in Europe is so fucked up right now.
Yeah, well, Kant tells you about the political climate at that time because he develops a whole system for categorizing good and evil deeds.
Exactly.
Very, very logically. And then at the end, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you're born with dark skin, that's because you're evil.
Exactly. You also find this kind of bullshit in the Chinese philosophers, as I was saying, like Confucius just saying like, yeah, you shouldn't let your father beat you up to almost death because that's going to be bad for your father.
Yeah.
But it's really important to understand what are these philosophies, what are these experiences for the proto-Chinese states, to later understand why some things are the way they are, and also to understand in a dialectical way the history of the dynasties is all come and go.
Yeah.
One falls down, one takes their place, and it changes
It's
everything.
a dynastic cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like in Europe, the dynastic cycles are not always so marked by a complete change of the state philosophy or of the state organization, but rather by I marry my daughter to this guy or I just lost a battle and that is all, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't have so many, for my understanding, it doesn't have so deep implications into how the whole state is organized, obviously with some exceptions throughout the whole dynastic history of, for example, Europe.
Yeah.
But I think it's much more clearly seen when it comes to China, and also it has many more reverberations into the present.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I'm gonna make so many video game references in this stupid series.
Go for it.
Like, it's the kind of thing in civilization where like you've managed to organize much quicker and you've become much more fortunate than your neighbors, and your culture is able to spread more. And the fact that everyone recognizes this kind of universal culture, this background, it's actually, I would say from my understanding, similar to like the founding of ancient Rome, where you have a series of myths that in turn become a way of organizing society. I mean, the idea of like Romulus founding Rome and like giving birth to the Roman people didn't happen, but because everyone understood that, and that story spread faster than the neighboring stories, you know, they built a massive society, very organized, very quickly, and that became a very easy way for them to overpower their neighbors. We didn't talk about the interactions between ancient Chinese states and their neighbors, mostly because their neighbors were not as organized. I mean, this is the first organized philosophy in the region. It spreads to Japan, it spreads to Korea, it spreads to nearby Mongolia. Not so much because it's still kind of nomadic, and then it spreads to the rest of Southeast Asia. It doesn't spread so far, but it spreads very far for something that happened before the birth of Christ.
But by the
alleged birth.
By the Qin dynasty, everything is quite packed up. You know, you don't have so many migrant movements outside their territories.
Well, it's kind of funny because I was going to compare it to another video game, the Total War games. The Total War games are only focused on economic development and military development. You're upgrading your units, you're getting into some battles, and if you're playing on easy mode, it's very easy. You just build up a big army and you romp around and you paint the map your color. But that's because there's nothing cultural in the game. You're not worried about the state philosophy or anything.
Exactly.
And that is the experience of being born in the Warring States period as the guy who would later become Qin Shi Huang. You were just fortunate to become king of one of the most economically developed states through some fortunate circumstances, and then you get to play a Total War game. You just go around painting the map your color until you've united China.
That's basically the whole thing of it. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not saying that the philosophy doesn't have a impact.
I can say it's boring, but it doesn't matter what I say.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean is that I don't mean that the philosophy doesn't have an impact in the governance or the dynastic cycles of Europe, but their impact is much more contained and not so critical to understand what is the ongoings of the society.
Everyone's still disagreeing about it as well.
Exactly, of the society or of the organization of the kingdom in itself or the court itself. The court is also a very important thing. But in China, if you don't understand what is legalism, what is Taoism, you cannot understand why some dynasties hate the gods of each other, why some kings hate the gods of their father, for example, or why suddenly society changes so fast in so many critical ways that the whole point of view just turns around in many aspects. And it affects you up until today. I think for Chinese people, their overall understanding of these ideologies and these philosophies is much more extensive, and that also helps mold their own thought.
It definitely changes how people here think without them realizing. You ask someone on the street what they think about legalism, they're not going to give you a proper answer. But if you ask them some kind of philosophical question, or you ask them about how a child should treat their parents, they're going to end up repeating a lot of the stuff that like Confucius might have said.
Exactly.
If they're not a proper Marxist. and then they'll repeat the Marxist line, which is the better one. Right. So that wraps up everything from... Well, we didn't talk about Liangzhu, which I wanted to talk about, but that's only because
you can do it in the next episode. Well, we can do a preface.
No, we're not doing another preface.
Please, I want a preface.
I don't want to talk about anything ancient. But that's it. We're wrapped on ancient shit. Next up, Qin Shi Huang takes over China. We kept saying Christ is born. We don't know if he was born.
He was born.
Okay, sure, whatever. Anyway.
I mean.
That's not important to Chinese
historical
history.
agreement is that Jesus Christ was a historical figure, not divine, but there was some guy going around doing shit during that time.
Turning water into wine.
Exactly. I mean,
Right, and then yeah, we've got 1,900 years of mostly boring stuff, but there's some really funny stuff in there. And then we've got
Very funny.
And then we've got about 100 years of the most funny stuff to ever happen in history.
Which is?
The 1900s, the Chinese Revolution, the birth of the greatest country on earth.
Chile.
Should we stand up? I don't know the song. We can just dub it over and then